Do you ever deal with heartburn, bad breath, a sour taste in your mouth, or even a nagging cough that just won't go away? You might be surprised to know that these could all be the symptoms of reflux, even if you don't have that burning feeling. Most doctors will quickly prescribe PPI medications or acid blockers, but these don't address the underlying cause and they just treat symptoms, and they have long-term side effects. In this video, I'm going to show you the top 5 supplements to finally give you some relief from reflux and address the underlying cause of why it's happening. But first, let's talk about why relying on medications alone is not your best bet and why they can cause more symptoms in the long run. Imagine your reflux is like the smoke alarm in your kitchen that keeps going off. It's loud, it's annoying, it's frustrating. But what if your answer is to take out the batteries from the smoke alarm? Sure, the smoke alarm keeps going off, but you're not getting to the root cause, and that could lead to long-term consequences. And that's exactly what happens when doctors prescribe PPI medications or acid blockers. They're taking the batteries out of the smoke alarm, but they're not treating the root cause of why it's occurring. And you end up on these long-term medications that can cause side effects. To truly fix the problem, you need to find the source of the smoke and then take care of it naturally so you can put out the fire for good. And this could be something simple like a food intolerance, or even something more serious like a 𝗙𝗏𝗄𝗏𝗃 pylori infection. Before we go into the supplements that can help to eliminate reflux, let's look at some of the food triggers or other triggers for reflux, so you can address these first. Reflux is caused by the sphincter muscle from the esophagus leading to the stomach that relaxes. This allows the acid contents to come back up into the esophagus, causing that burning feeling, or even creating silence reflux, which is no burning feeling, but you get things like that chronic cough or that mucus in the throat. Any amount of reflux or any amount of acid in the esophagus is not good. So let's look at some of the triggers of reflux. And this is what I'd start with first. It could be just a simple food intolerance that's creating your problems. Some of the most common trigger foods are spicy foods, citrus, gluten from wheat, chocolate, caffeine, and especially alcohol. They can all relax this lower esophageal sphincter and trigger reflux. One of the best diets in the short term for reflux can be the low FODMAP diet. That helps to reduce down the fermentable carbohydrates that reduce down gases that can also be causing reflux to be forcing things back up. Eating smaller frequent meals can be helpful, and especially not eating late at night. Even raising the head of the bed so you're not lying down flat, which can also cause reflux when you're in sleep. And this can be helpful in the short term, but you still want to get to that underlying cause of why it's happening. Being overweight also is a trigger for reflux, just puts more pressure on the stomach. Certain medications like non-steroidal anti-inflammatories, blood pressure medications, they can all cause reflux. You shouldn't stop any medications, but if you're taking over-the-counter painkillers, they could be part of your problem. Proton inhibitors are not the long-term answer. They're meant to be a short-term intervention for treating things like ulcers, not just managing reflux for the long term. And some of the things they can cause are long-term. They can cause kidney damage, osteoporosis, nutrient deficiencies, because your stomach should be very acidic, and these lower the acid levels of your stomach, and then you're not digesting and absorbing nutrients as well as you could be. So if you're ever on PPIs, they should only be for a short-term thing like gastritis or ulcers. But if you're just taking them because you have reflux, it's best to treat the underlying cause. 𝗙𝗏𝗄𝗏𝗃 pylori is one of the main causes of reflux, and this should be tested and ruled out as a main cause. Otherwise, taking these supplements will still help, but it's not going to get to the root cause. Later in this video, I'll show you the best way to test for H. pylori and also whether you have antibiotic resistance or not. That would make antibiotics ineffective. And even so, I would recommend taking natural treatment options because that won't destroy the long-term microbiome like antibiotics will. Now let's look at the top 5 supplements for reflux. And most likely you're not going to need all of these supplements. Some will be better for some people, and it's worth experimenting to see what works best for you. The first thing I would try is betaine HDL and pepsin. Also, if you can get one that includes the herb gentian, this can help to stimulate your own stomach acid. Most people are getting reflux because they have low stomach acid. And the food just goes into the stomach, it sits there, it churns around, then they'll start getting reflux coming back up. That's why it's often older people getting reflux, as stomach acids, they decrease as you get older. And you don't see too many teenagers with reflux problems. You've got to be careful with betaine HDL though. If you have gastritis and ulcer, taking one of these tablets, it's going to cause more burning. So if this happens to you, put that aside and you have to treat the gastritis, which is most likely caused by something like H. pylori first. Experimenting with this is not going to hurt. You'll just get that burning feeling and then you'll just know to stop. The next thing I'd recommend is probiotics. And not all probiotics are created equally. Some of the research shows that there's specific strains of bifidobacterium that can also help with reflux. Saccharomyces boulardii can also be helpful, and specific strains of lactobacillus, like Lactobacillus reuteri, can help to lower H. pylori levels and get to that root cause of reflux. So some probiotics can be helpful, but you also have to be careful with probiotics. If you have SIBO, they can actually make that worse. One of the best things for reflux is DGL licorice. And there's different types of licorice. There's normal licorice, and then there's deglycerated licorice, or DGL licorice. And for some people, they can't take licorice if they have high blood pressure. But the DGL licorice is okay, even for people with high blood pressure. And this can help treat the symptoms of burning and reflux quite quickly. And doing that 2 to 3 times a day when you eat can make a dramatic difference to your burning and reflux. Slippery elm is the next supplement I recommend. It's like a gel-like supplement that helps to coat the lining and help to reduce down the symptoms of reflux and improve digestion. This can be added to smoothies or taken as a capsule as well. The fifth thing I recommend for reflux is based on research showing that melatonin, which most people think of as a sleep supplement, can also help strengthen that esophageal sphincter, preventing reflux. So that it's not like an instant fix like the DGL licorice can have, great results really fast. But you need to do melatonin at around 6 grams a day for 6 weeks to reduce down the symptoms of reflux. It's definitely worth a try, and especially if you've been diagnosed with a hiatal hernia or something like that, melatonin can get to that root cause. And I know I said the top 5, but as a bonus, another cause of reflux is this visceral hypersensitivity. And there's a product called iberogast. It's liquid drops that you take before meal that can help to stimulate motility, gastric emptying, and help to clear the contents out of the stomach so they don't sit there fermenting and creating reflux later on. Iberogast is also excellent if you have symptoms like constipation or SIBO, because it helps everything move through the intestinal tract. So these supplements can really help, and we can put some links for the supplements in the description below. But I mentioned earlier, one of the main causes of reflux is Helicobacter pylori. And if you go to the doctor, you'll sometimes do a breath test to check for H. pylori, or they don't even test and they'll just put you on medication. But one of the most accurate tests for Helicobacter is the GI map stool test. This not only shows the level of H. pylori, but whether you have the positive virulence factors more likely leading to gastric cancer, ulcers, or more serious consequences. Also checks for antibiotic resistance. So it knows that antibiotics could be less effective for you and the herbal treatment would be the best option. Even if antibiotics are okay for you to treat your H. pylori infection, I would still consider natural treatment options, so you don't wreck the entire microbiome just trying to get rid of H. pylori. We'll put a link to the GI map test in the description below. And if you want to find out more about stool testing, watch this video next about the Vibrant Wellness Gut Zoomer and the GI map test to help you work out the best test for you to help with your gut issues.